She had powers nobody else had, a whole kingdom waiting outside her door. And yet, she spent 13 years locked away in a single room, terrified of herself. Not because she was a threat, but because she'd been told she was. Enter Elsa, and the movie pulls a trick on you. It lets you watch her suffer and makes you believe the magic is the problem. It wasn't. The secret was just a symptom. The real thing she was shutting away? You've been hiding it your whole life and you didn't even notice. Let's reframe this. Elsa didn't choose her powers. She was born with them. For the first few years of her life, they were pure joy. She built snowmen. She made Anna laugh. She filled rooms with magic just by being herself. Then, one night, she hurt someone she loved by accident while playing. And the response from the adults who were supposed to protect her wasn't, "Let's figure this out together." It was, "Hide it. Contain it. Don't let anyone see." Her father literally put gloves on her hands. Not to help her control the power, but to hide the evidence that the power even existed. She was a child, and the message she internalized was brutal. Who you are at your core is something the world simply cannot handle. So she learned to perform safety. She stopped touching things, stopped laughing too loud, and kept her distance from Anna, the one person she loved most. Because closeness meant risk. Closeness meant being seen. And being seen meant someone could get hurt again. 13 years, same room, same gloves, same crushing silence. She didn't build those walls. They were built for her, and she just stayed inside them. Here is the easy read of the movie. Elsa had a secret power and was scared of hurting people. Simple, relatable, safe. But scared people flinch. They run. They beg for help. Watch Elsa. She doesn't do any of that. She goes perfectly still, hyper-controlled. She becomes so careful, so precise, so composed. At her own coronation, she's basically performing a different person entirely. That's not the fear of hurting others. That's something older, something much quieter. That's the deeply rooted belief that who she actually is, not the magic her, is the problem. Quick pause. Right now you probably feel sorry for Elsa. You think she's a victim of her parents' fear and a kingdom that couldn't handle difference. And it feels good to take her side. If you're watching this and thinking, "That's not fair," hit subscribe. Because you're probably using Elsa's pain to justify why you're not showing up as yourself in your own life. In a second, I'll show you why pity is the most dangerous emotion in this movie. You don't actually want Elsa to win. You secretly want her to stay frozen, just so you don't feel so alone in your own performance. Because here's the thing, Elsa wasn't hiding a power. She was hiding a self, and the gloves were never about magic. Watch the coronation scene. She's doing everything right. Dress perfect, posture perfect, smile calibrated. She's got the performance so dialed in that for a moment you almost forget she's terrified. Then Hans bumps her hand, and the glove slips, just for a second, and her entire face changes. Not to anger, not to panic, to shame. Instant, total, practiced shame. That's not a reaction to a near miss. That's a reflex that's been trained over a decade. Now watch Anna. Anna is doing the opposite of everything Elsa does. She's loud, she trips over things, and she falls for a guy she met 3 hours ago. She says exactly what she's thinking the very moment she thinks it, and you like her immediately. The movie is doing something deliberate here. It's showing you two sisters raised in the same house, by the same parents, after the same accident, and they came out completely different. Anna wasn't protected from the truth of that night. She just wasn't given the same instruction. Nobody handed Anna gloves. Nobody told Anna that who she was needed to be contained. So Anna grew up whole, weird, and clumsy, and whole. And Elsa grew up performing. Now watch what happens when Anna finds out at the coronation. She doesn't recoil. She steps closer. She says, "You have magic?" Like it's the most wonderful thing she's ever heard. Like this secret Elsa has been guarding for 13 years is actually a gift. And Elsa, who has spent 13 years believing the opposite, cannot receive that. She doesn't know how. Watch her face in that moment. It's not relief, and it's not joy. It's pure panic. Because Anna just saw the thing Elsa has spent her entire life making sure nobody sees. And Anna's reaction doesn't match the story. And the story is all Elsa has. So she runs. Watch what happens when someone tries to love the real version of her. She doesn't soften. She freezes harder. She escalates. She builds a castle alone on a mountain and calls it freedom. Because being loved for who you are, when you've spent your whole life believing who you are, is the problem. That's more terrifying than rejection. Rejection confirms the story. Love threatens to dismantle it, and she's built her entire identity around that story. The isolation isn't a side effect, it's the point. If nobody's close enough to see her, nobody can confirm the fear. And if nobody can confirm the fear, she doesn't have to feel it. That's not a castle. That's a coping mechanism with good architecture. The movie did to you what Elsa does to everyone. For the first 40 minutes, Frozen is warm, funny, and full of color. Anna is chaotic and lovable, Hans is charming, and the songs are big. You're having a good time, and then Let It Go happens. And something shifts, in the theater and in you. You felt it. That surge of something when she rips off the gloves, builds the ice castle, and lets her hair down. You cheered, you sang along, you felt free watching her feel free. The movie manufactured that on purpose. It spent 40 minutes building the cage so tight, the locked doors, the empty hallways, the gloves, the silence, that when she finally broke out of it, your nervous system responded like it was your cage she was escaping. Because it was. You'd been holding your breath right alongside her, and you didn't even realize it until the exhale. That's not an accident. That's the film doing to you exactly what Elsa's parents did to her. It suppressed, it contained, and it made you sit with the discomfort of watching someone hide. And then it gave you the release. And the release felt so good, you stopped asking what came next. But here's what comes next. The castle is beautiful, and the isolation is complete. She's alone on a mountain with no one to hurt and no one to disappoint. And the movie doesn't let you notice, because the song is still playing, because the visuals are stunning, that she just rebuilt the cage. Bigger, colder, more elegant, but still a cage. She went from hiding in a room to hiding on a mountain. The geography changed. The system didn't, and you were in on it. You cheered for the mountain and called it liberation, because the movie made you feel the compression before the release. And your brain tagged the release as freedom, without checking whether she was actually free. Freedom that requires total isolation isn't freedom. It's just loneliness with a better view. And this is where it stops being about a queen. You know what it feels like to finally be somewhere you don't have to perform. Maybe it's your car. Maybe it's 2 a.m. in your apartment with everyone asleep. Maybe it's one specific friend, the one who knew you before you learned to be careful, and only when it's just the two of you. And in that space you think, this is the real me. This is who I'd be if I wasn't so worried all the time. But you don't bring that person anywhere else. You laugh differently in public, quieter, more controlled. You edit your opinions before you say them out loud, not to be diplomatic, but to be safe. You watch someone else say the thing you were thinking, and you feel a complicated mix of relief and envy. Relief that you didn't say it, and envy that they did. And then you wonder what it costs them that it doesn't seem to cost you. You've had the thought, if people really knew me, they'd leave. Not as a crisis, not as a breakdown, just as background noise. A low hum you've gotten so used to that you stopped hearing it. You've sat in a conversation where someone said something about you, something complimentary, something that actually saw you, and instead of feeling good, you felt exposed, like they got too close, like you need to redirect. So you deflect with a joke, or you immediately flip the attention back to them. You rehearse important conversations before you have them. Not to be clear, you're already clear in your head, but to be safe. To remove the edges and find the version of what you want to say that won't make someone see too much. And here's the one that really lands. You've performed so long that you genuinely don't know in certain rooms which version of you is the real one anymore. The performance doesn't feel like a choice. It feels like personality, like it's just how you are. That's not caution, that's a system. A system you built the exact same way Elsa did, after something, somewhere, taught you that being fully seen was dangerous. The difference between you and Elsa is just geography. She built her mountain out of ice. Yours is harder to see. Most people think hiding who you are is about shame, like you've got something broken in you that needs to stay covered. But Frozen shows you something different. Hiding who you are is about safety logic. It made sense once. It was the right response to the information you had at the time. A child learned that being herself caused harm, so she stopped. The gloves weren't cowardice. They were engineering. They were the smartest solution available to a 7-year-old with no other options. The problem isn't that you built the system. The problem is that you're still running it on people who never asked for it, in rooms that never required it, long after the original threat is gone. Hiding who you are isn't a character flaw. It's an outdated protection still running on old code. I know this one. For a long time, I had a version of myself I only let out on long drives alone. Different music, different thoughts. I'd say things out loud in the car I'd never say to another person, not because they were dark, just because they were mine, unfiltered, unperformed. I didn't think of it as hiding. I thought of it as privacy. Then once, stuck in traffic, my brother called and put me on speaker without warning. His girlfriend was in the car with him. I went immediately flat, different voice, shorter sentences. I could actually feel myself narrowing in real time. After I hung up, he texted me, "You okay?" I stared at that for a while. Not because he was wrong, but because he'd noticed the switch. And if he noticed, other people had too. They just hadn't said anything. I didn't magically become a different person after that, but I started leaving a little more of the car version in the room. The cold wasn't the villain here. The silence was. The whole time we thought Frozen was about a girl with dangerous powers, learning control. It wasn't. It was a brutally honest look at what happens when you spend so long hiding who you are, that you forget there's a difference between the mask and the face. Elsa wasn't broken. She was just running 13 years of damage as a personality, and the ice wasn't a warning. It was a reminder that you can't keep something that alive, locked in a room forever. You're standing at the exact same crossroads right now. You can keep performing the safe version, or you can finally let someone meet the real one. If this is the kind of cinematic therapy you came for, hit subscribe and click the video on your screen, because letting yourself be seen isn't about being fearless. It's proof that the real thing survived.